Welcome to episode number 296 of the Marine Layer podcast. The Mariners have a whale of a game one in Kansas City. They've now won 10 in a row. Cal has number 55 and 56. Dom Canzone with a 3-home run game. So many things happening in game one. We'll break it all down. We'll talk about the updated playoff picture in the American League and Colt Emerson getting promoted to AAA.
Gonna be a fun episode, man. Before that, just a reminder to you guys, check out everything over at our website. You can find all our stuff there. That's marinelayerpod.com. From all of our episodes to our merch, go buy your merch, our live show schedule, and our Patreon. That's all over at marinelayerpod.com. And you can check us out across social media, all across at marinelayerpod.
Let's get it rolling.
The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. 1-1 from Jansen. There you go. Left field. We got a tie ball game. Julio. Oh, baby, what a moment. Tie ball game at 7-7.
And we welcome you to this episode of the Marine Layer podcast, part of the Just Baseball Podcast Network. Recording on Tuesday evening, September 16th, post-game of the Mariners' win over the Royals. And despite Lyle, I had a slight bit of PTSD in the 7th and 8th inning of that baseball game, given the last 3 years in Kansas City. The Mariners played probably one of the most fun games of the season from a storyline perspective at a time that I think everyone enjoys the most right now. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, dude, there's not going to be many bad things to say on this podcast, considering the stories are winning 10 in a row, playoff picture, Colt Emerson just going off and continuing to do so. This is going to be an awesome pod. The only thing we could say is, yes, in the 8th inning, it got a little bit dicey, and you had to go get Gabe Speier for an out, and we know how previous history has gone in that ballpark the last 3 years, like you just said. Aside from that, that is the one negative statement you could possibly make on this pod. We just got it out of the way. And aside from that, dude, the M's are fucking rolling. They are absolutely steamrolling people right now, and it's awesome.
They have been winning baseball games by average 5 runs a game. During this winning streak, they are scoring on average 8 runs per contest. This is one of the most locked in we've seen this Mariners team. Certainly since we've started doing this podcast, this does feel a little bit August 2023 with how this offense is swinging right now. But the difference between this offense and that offense is that when the Mariners need to win the game the most, you hear people say it all the time, games in September matter more when you see the playoff picture there. I hear Salk say it every single morning. When you're staring at that playoff picture and you see that magic number going down, the Mariners' magic number now is right at 8. And you're like, okay, we got to go win these games. We have to go do it. The Mariners are slamming their foot on the gas. Slamming it. The brick has fallen on the gas, and the car is going way over the speed limit. But the Mariners have total control over it, and they are just kicking the crap out of teams.
How about this? Last 3 road games, they've scored 40 runs. Spin zone. Road merchants, question mark.
No longer.
No, are they actually road merchants is what I'm saying. Are they actually better on the road?
Well, here's another spin zone. They could just be the greatest team of all time if they had just had an Etsy which blessed them at the beginning of the season. They'd be undefeated.
Yeah, dude, the 0-1 Mariners would be shaking their fists at the sky.
Who needs to win the 60% of games, Jerry DiPoto said in a press conference a couple of years ago, when you can win all of them?
I don't think he said 60.
Well, in the statement after the magical number, he said sometimes you win 60, sometimes you win 50. We said he never won 60, but instead of winning 60, which he'd never done, he's going to go on and win 1,000 instead. That makes
yes.
That's way too complicated. The Mariners are fucking killing teams right now, and it's great to see. And that is a borderline playoff team. The Mariners just did that too. The Royals had Michael Wacha starting tonight, looking to find some way to claw back into this playoff race. They're mostly done, given how the Royals' last road trip went. But so you would think this series would be sort of a last gasp effort for them to claw their way back into this thing. And the Mariners just stepped on them right away. It was 7-0 in the 3rd inning. Cal had both of his home runs within the first 3 innings. It was insane. It's crazy.
I'll say it. The Royals are done. They're 7 games
they're done
back
now,
of the
for sure.
Yeah, it was all but done even before the first game of the series, but they're done. They're now under 500. They're 7 games back of the final wild card spot. And when you really look at their team, it's a club that's built on their starting pitching. In some ways, when everything goes right, the Royals and Mariners are built somewhat similarly, where they have what's supposed to be a really good rotation and one really young superstar in the middle of the field. Now, the Mariners have 2 stars in the middle of the field now between Cal and Julio, but the comp I'm really making is Julio and Bobby. Regardless, the Royals are often built on pitching. Seth Lugo out, Bubic done for the year. You've got
Cole Reagan's returning tomorrow when this episode comes out.
Yes, he is. Anyway,
I don't know why you're so worried.
Because he's really good. Anyway, let's save that. But point being, the Royals have been decimated by injuries in that rotation. They have had a ton of guys on the shelf, and they just don't have much left. There is only so much they can do in this rotation at this point. With a guy like Waka, who, by the way, has been really good, but he gets shelled tonight. They don't have much left. I think they're done.
Which is why the Mariners now need to. After watching what I watched tonight, the Mariners need to go out and they need to win the next 2 games in this series.
Well, at least win one.
At least, yeah, winning one should probably be the minimum. But after what I watched tonight and how this team is playing, why can't they win the next 2 games?
Yeah, they can. They absolutely can.
They've done this with Gino in his coldest streak of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And it literally has not mattered at all because there's been so many other contributors around the lineup. Dom Canzone, Jorge Polanco, Josh Naylor, Julio. Didn't even hear Julio's name really at all tonight because it was the guys around him hitting the ball over the fence.
Which is funny because Julio still had 2 hits and he had the double to get things started early in the game. So that's how great this game went. Julio had 2 hits, had 2 runs driven in by his own right in the first inning, and we're barely going to mention Julio on this pod.
Let's mention the guy hitting right next to him in the lineup. How hyped were you of watching Cal Raleigh tonight? That was as fitting a way for him to break that record of Mickey Mantle's and to tie Ken Griffey Jr.'s as I think there has been in history. Cal Raleigh right now has 5 games in his career, if I'm remembering off the top of my head, 5 games in his career where he has homered from both sides of the plate. He uses that to get number 55 and 56 on Tuesday night. He's now, I think, a third of the way to the Major League record in that category. The Major League record is 14. Mark Teixeira holds it. But the way Cal's smacking some home runs and the way he's done it this season adds his 10th multi-home run game of the season against 10 different teams. The only player ever to do that in baseball history in a season full of firsts for Cal. That right there was very fitting.
I just don't know how much else we're even supposed to say at this point. For every good reason, we've had this conversation now 100 times throughout the course of the year. How much more new content can we give people about Cal? It's absolutely incredible. He is putting together arguably the greatest season a catcher has ever had. He is now arguably putting together the greatest season a Seattle Mariner has ever had. And he does it from both sides of the plate and continues to bring an awesome glove and amazing presence behind the plate every night. He does it from both ways. It's not exactly Shohei Ohtani-esque, but there is a little bit of that to it. The what he does from both ways and hitting from both sides is incredible.
I think in the offseason, once we get Cal's season in total, we should dive and see if we can pick the best season in Mariners history, offensively. Off the top of your head, the seasons are Alex Rodriguez, I would think, in 96, Griffey in 97 and 98.
Ichiro in 01.
Ichiro in 01.
It's a different type of success, but he's still in there.
And these are all offensive players, not including pitchers.
Right. I'm just saying Ichiro's different in the way of, obviously he didn't do it with the slug, but he is absolutely in the conversation. He won the MVP.
And unfortunately, I don't think we could put an Edgar season in there because he doesn't play defense. Right?
Probably not.
Well, we could decide that in the offseason.
But if you're just counting the bat, I don't know if there's one that stands. It would probably be 95, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
He had a 185 OPS plus that year. He led baseball in OPS plus, in OPS, in on base, hit 356 and won a batting title. That one could be in there. But yeah, it's those guys. This is who Cal is now in territory with in Mariners lore. Junior, A-Rod, Edgar, Ichiro.
Do you want me to just read off all of the records he has now either set or is going to set this season? Cal Raleigh now has the most home runs ever in a season by a catcher. He has the most home runs in a season while catching. Difference, like how many home runs you hit while you're actually starting a catcher like he was tonight. Most home runs ever by a switch hitter. Tied most home runs ever in a season by a Mariner. Most multi-home run games in a season while playing catcher. Most multi-home run games in a season as a Mariner, and most multi-home run games in a season as a switch hitter, on top of having a multi-home run game against 10 different teams, as I mentioned earlier. All of those are records Cal Raleigh now owns.
And he is one home run away from hitting more home runs in a season than any Seattle Mariner ever. Standing alone and doing it, by the way, because he's currently tied.
He got hit in the neck tonight. He had a foul ball go off his neck. And it didn't. And he still managed to do this. He really is incredible. And then you look at him after the game, too. I mean, he is the consummate dude for the Mariners. Like, he's great PR. Like, this man went... He did Root Sports interview after, and he did MLB Network interview after. Despite catching the entire game, he looked exhausted. He was sweating, but he did both interviews fine with a smile on his face. Well, yeah, half smile.
I got to tell you what, by the way, picking up a little bit of Cal's vibes that he's given off from Sunday and then from Tuesday, doing both those post-game interviews. Let me preface this by saying I absolutely understand why this is. But I think Cal's kind of getting sick and tired of doing all these post-game interviews. Because, one, you just look at him. He looks like he's exhausted. But also, what is he supposed to say at this point? He's a guy that very, very much wants the focus to be on the team as a whole, and not him. And then in every single one of these interviews, because he keeps breaking records, it's, talk about you, Cal, talk about you. And you can tell.
He's like, great.
Yeah, he's just like, I've done this so many times, I don't want to keep doing this. Obviously, he's going to do it because he knows it's incredibly important, and it's incredible. I mean, it's important to be really good PR for the team and for this season. But if you were to have him take some truth serum, or him and Logan were to go up against that polygraph test again like they did in spring training, I bet you Cal would admit that he's getting sick and tired of doing all these post-game interviews because he looks like he does not want to keep doing them.
He gave some decent answers to MLB Network, though, I thought.
Well, that's good.
He actually, and his last answer, he actually explained a little bit. The quote was, "My name should not be up there with Ken Griffey Jr. and Mickey Mantle. That just doesn't feel real." Which is about as much detail as you'll usually get out of Cal in that sort of standard interview practice.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that was good. So maybe it was the fact that Jake Peavy and Yonder Alonso and one other ex-player were talking to him instead of just a normal broadcaster like our friend Brad Adam. That could be.
That could be. But I just think in general, he's like he just doesn't want to talk about himself that much. I get it. So yeah.
And he's saying, what else can I say?
I mean, again,
can you guys just replay the interview from last week?
Right. Everybody's a little bit different. For example, when we were interviewing Manny Machado for Bullpen Banner, who, by the way, I loved and idolized as a kid. He was my favorite player by far that wasn't a Mariner. But he says to us, when we're doing a Bullpen Banner trivia thing with him, that the guy he made the crazy play on early in his career in Yankee Stadium, Luis Cruz, he's like, yeah, Luis Cruz, we still keep in touch a little bit. He told his kid when I was standing right there, that's the best to ever do it right there. And he's talking. So, Manny has no problem talking about himself. Cal would never say that. So everybody's just a little bit different.
So happy for Cal. And we're going to watch him the rest of the series. He's going to potentially have some big home runs coming up against the Astros later this week. We'll get into that series here in a second. I do want to quiz you. While we're on the subject of multi-home run games, Lyle, I think it would be a disservice if we didn't talk a little bit about Dom Canzone's game. I'm going to start this off with this. Since 2000, can you give me Mariners with a 3-home run game?
Oh, I missed this on the broadcast. There's 2. It's Dom and somebody else, right?
No. Since 2000, there's 5.
Oh. What did I hear that Dom and Ty Cobb are in a category on their own for?
5 hits and 3 homers, I think.
Well, except that's not right because Kurtz did that this year. Kurtz had 5
Okay, well,
hits.
you have to go back and watch the broadcast.
Yeah.
I heard they gave some record where they said 5 for 5 with 3 home runs.
Maybe Kurtz didn't go 5 for 5. I can pull up that game log, but I'm pretty sure in that game where he hit 4 homers, he had 5 hits. Right?
Did he?
Oh, he had 6 hits. Yeah, he was 6 for 6 with 4 homers. So yeah.
Okay, it must have been a different record then. But
Yeah.
I did hear Ty Cobb get mentioned on there.
Yeah.
But Ty Cobb is not included in the stat because he did not play for the Mariners.
Okay, yeah, 3 home run games with the Mariners. Well, I heard Dan was in there.
No, since 2000.
Oh, since 2000. Seager do it at some point?
2019.
So that's 2. Did Edgar do it in 2000 or beyond?
He did not, no.
I figured probably not. Oh, Mike Cameron.
Yeah, Mike Cameron has the 4 home run game.
Right.
One of these was in 2010 and the other was in 2000.
Man, we're blending bullpen banner. We're blending bullpen banner and the Marine Layer pod here all in one. What else we got? 2000 and 2010.
I'm sure there's someone listening to this screaming at you right now.
Probably. 2010? Dude, that team sucked.
Yeah, I know. That's going to be the harder one to get. 2000, I mean, you and I view this guy as an inner circle Mariner.
Oh, duh. A-Rod.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 2010, a name we know, or is it just absolutely out of the clouds?
Oh, you know this name.
Russell Branyan?
No, not Russell Branyan. Chunkier.
Jack Cust?
Not Jack Cust.
I don't know. Miguel Olivo?
No. It's Jose Lopez.
All right. It's a pretty good list.
That's a pretty good list for Dom. Good for him. He's up to a 144 WRC plus, sitting over 300 now, and he just looks good. If you go look on his Fangraphs page, you'll look. He's across the board. It's not surprising this season. Across the board, his contact rates have increased in every single category. He's drastically improved across the board this year. And despite having a bit of a power slump over the last month and a half, he'd gone the last month and a half without hitting a home run, essentially. Comes out and hits 3 tanks tonight. Very happy for him. And this is a guy that got essentially benched for Leody Taveras, who is, as of right now, the least valuable player still in Major League Baseball this season, despite playing 40 games.
Oh, it couldn't have even been that many with the Mariners. Oh, you're counting the Rangers, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not great. And Dom responded to that by putting up a season everyone wanted to see from him.
Yeah. Hell of a night. And you know what? For all those reasons, I'm not going to sit here and say that hell of a job by Dom upping his trade value this winter after the Mariners signed Kyle Tucker. I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're going to talk about the 5-hit night that Dom had in the middle of the Mariners postseason push and say, hell of a night. He is absolutely killing it for this team right now. We're not going to talk about Kyle Tucker yet.
But since you still said it, means that you still think it could be true.
No, I said it's not. I'm not going to talk about that. So,
okay. But I don't believe you.
Well,
I'm calling cap on that.
Well, everybody's up for their own interpretation.
Just listen to the slash line from Dom right now. 21% strikeout rate, 8% walk rate, 349 on base percentage is WRC plus up to 144 this season. Guy's hitting 7th in your lineup.
In all seriousness, the second half that he's had, or really since he got called up, has been pretty remarkable. Hard hit rates way up this year. Strikeout rates down. It's only at about 21%, which is a big increase from where he's been in years past. Seriously hitting with authority, truly like squaring up the baseball, barreling up the baseball. And like you said, he's managed to raise his WRC plus to 44% above league average. Like you said, this is a guy that wasn't even really thought about to be on the opening day roster this year. He got reassigned to minor league camp early, and now he's playing a vital role during the most important time of the year. It's funny how storylines change. I think we said it back in July or so, and we can continue to say it. It's the success story of the year for the Mariners.
these are the type of guys that can make the difference in the postseason. Like, once you get there, you have all your stars. You have the guys that have contributed for you all season long, like Julio and Cal and Polanco. But what about the guys who came in strong in the second half? What about different profiles, different ages, certainly, but same idea of role? What about someone like a 2023 Evan Carter for the Rangers? Evan Carter, since the Rangers won the World Series, has not been all that great. A little better this season, but for the most part, has shown the struggles that a young prospect would have. He was what, Lyle, 20 during that World Series run?
Yeah, and he looked like he had a chance to be a perennial all-star with what he showed in the final month and a half of 2023.
But then he fell off a cliff and did not perform last year, spent a good chunk of time in the minors last year and this year, I think, as well. But for that Rangers team, he was very, very valuable. They would not have won the World Series without him. I'm not saying Dom's going to be the World Series hero for the Mariners. I can't promise that, at least. But what Dom is doing, hitting at the bottom of the Mariners lineup, a guy they were really high on when they traded for him, things didn't work out right away. He didn't have a spot on this roster, but all of a sudden things sort of fall into place for him. He's gotten an opportunity, and he's taken full advantage of it. And it makes this already deep lineup that much deeper. It doesn't just have to be the top 6. It can be the top 7. It could be 1 through 9, however you want to structure it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that lineup was about as good as you can get on Tuesday in terms of what the Mariners have. It's not a perfect defensive roster because it involves Jorge Polanco playing second base, but Dom in the DH spot.
Which we saw.
Yeah. Again, this is a positive episode. We don't need to talk about JP and Polo making a couple errors. Yes, it got a little dicey in the 8th, but anyway. Polo at second, Robles in right, Dom DHing. That's probably about as good as a lineup as you can throw out there.
Mm-hmm. And it gives you just that another lefty bat to put in the lineup when one of your lefty bats is essentially on. It seems like Cole Young's on the development list right now. What it feels like. The major leagues don't have a development list. Kind of feels like that with Cole right now for some of the struggles he's going through. It helps when you have someone like Dom with a righty on the mound, a lefty you feel so comfortable plugging into that lineup and raking, and that's exactly what he's done. And by the way, he hit a home run off a lefty tonight.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
Really good.
So, that's my piece on Dom Canzone. He was awesome tonight.
I don't know if there's much else to say about the game. It's those two storylines. Mariners win 10 in a row. I think that's the story.
I'm going to say my piece on Cole Reagans now, since you're so worried for Wednesday. I'm going to tell all the listeners this right now. Do not be worried about Cole Reagans coming back on Wednesday. Clip it. Put me on Twitter. Roast the shit out of me if Cole Reagans pitches a perfect game tomorrow. I'm saying don't be worried about Cole Reagans.
You can explain your reasoning.
Cole Reagans, if you guys have missed out on the season, has an ERA over 5. Now, the reason for that is he's been out most of the season. He pitched into May for the Guardians. Things were not going well, so I'm trying to see if I don't think they put him on the IL, Lyle. I don't think they put him.
Yeah, he's been out for 3.5 months. He's been on the IL.
But he made a start in Double-A at the end of May. So yes, he has been on the IL for most of this time. But it was weird. He starts a game on the 16th for the Royals, then 2 weeks later he makes a Double-A start and gets blown up. And then he is back in the big leagues a week later, makes a start, gets blown up, then misses all the time until now for the last 3 months. He might have taken a short IL stint, I think, in the middle of May. Regardless, he has not pitched very much since May 16th. That was the last consecutive start he made.
Yeah.
Since then...
Can I say one quick thing?
Yeah,
his ERA might be over 5. All of his expecteds start with a 2. FIP starts with a 2. xERA starts with a 2. xFIP starts with a 2. Not only was he injured, but he's probably been a little bit unlucky this year. He's really good.
So the stamping reason why I think Mariner fans should not be worried about Cole Reagans tomorrow. First of all, as I mentioned, the Mariners are averaging 8 runs a game. on this win streak. They're pretty locked in at the plate. I think Cole Reagans might have a bit of a tough time tomorrow. Number 2, Cole Reagans' pitch count has been built up to a grand total of 56 pitches, which he threw in AAA earlier this week on the 12th. That was the high mark of pitches he's thrown in 3 months. Even if he's pitching well, this man is not going to make it through the 4th inning. He'll make it through 4, exactly, and then be done.
Well, what if his pitch count's 70? Then it could be a normal 5-inning start if it goes well.
Nah.
Yeah,
4 innings.
I'm not letting my guard down on Cole Reagans. Who's overall the struggles the Mariners have had on the road in the second half, especially over the last 2 road trips? Who's the one tough arm they faced? Oh, a really good lefty, and they got blanked. Chris Sale.
4 innings.
Fine, I'm not going to be negative Nancy. They're playing way too well for me to do that. Never mind. You know what? Fine. Mariners are going to light up Cole Reagans tomorrow. How about that?
I like the idea of that. You heard it here first.
Also, every time we've done this year, or at least I've done it, where I just play the worrying game, how an ace is going to pitch and the Mariners are going to get blanked, it seems to never happen. Whether it's Skubal, whether it's Crochet, whether it's Hunter Brown, whoever. It seems to never happen. So maybe the Mariners will just keep that going. And the storyline continues.
Sorry. I was going to say, the bigger story tomorrow, I don't think it's the Mariners lineup facing Cole Reagans. It's for Bryce Miller not to pitch the way he pitched last time he pitched in Kansas City. That would make me feel very good. Better than anything the Mariners lineup could do against Cole Reagans. If you remember last year, Bryce Miller in Kansas City labored his way through 5 innings and had one of those. That was the game they blew. That was an 8-1 lead. Mm-hmm. The 8-1 lead. He really labored his way through 5, let the Royals back in the game, and they ended up coming back and winning. Yeah. I would love to see the Bryce Miller on the road we've seen here in the last couple.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. All right, we're going to get to playoff picture update and a little bit of Colt Emerson in a second. Before that, let's take a pause and talk to you guys about our friends over at Pagaccia's Pub 85. Let's say you want a spot to watch any of these remaining games on the road trip, or even when they come home. If you're going to stay near your own area or just want to watch at a bar with your friends, head over there. Awesome spot. There's food, drinks, games. There's 20 TVs in the place, so there's plenty of sporting events to watch, whether it's football, baseball, etc. There's a bunch of different things you can watch all at once, and if you go during happy hour, you can get $3 and $4 happy hour deals from 2 to 6 p.m. on Monday through Friday. So catch all of that over at Pagaccia's Pub 85 in Kirkland.
Let's update everyone on the playoff picture as we sit here on Tuesday night. So the Astros and Rangers have gone final. The Astros won the first 2 games of that series. The Mariners are now 4.5 games up on the Rangers. They're half a game up on the Astros. In terms of the Guardians and Tigers, the Guardians won that game in extra innings. The Guardians are the team to look at now because they have passed Texas in the standings. I believe they're a half game above the Rangers here in the wild card standings. Why that pertains to the Mariners is that's where the Mariners' magic number is. So the Mariners are 4.5 games ahead of the Rangers. They're 3.5 games, or I guess technically 4.5 due to the tiebreaker over the Guardians as they currently sit right now. Any takeaways from what you've seen?
Well, the Mariners are technically 4.5 up on the Rangers, right?
But 4.5 games, but then 5.5 with the tiebreaker.
I was going to say, so let's call it that. It's really 5.5 games are up on the Rangers, which is a lot with 11 to play. That's a big gap that the Mariners have very, very conveniently created for themselves. So, yeah, I think that's what jumps out, man. I don't want to let my guard down, and no Mariner fan should, because we know what it's like to be a Mariner fan. We've lived and breathed it our whole lives. But when you're essentially 5.5 up on Texas, and you're 3.5 essentially, or 4.5 essentially up on Cleveland, you got to be feeling pretty good. The Mariners' magic number now sits at 8 with 11 games to play. They are in a really good spot. I know we talked about how badly we want to see the Astros win this series just to absolutely wipe out the Rangers. But now that there's so much cushion, it feels like it's a potential time to pivot where you could root for the Rangers to win the final game of the series here on Wednesday. And you could root for Cleveland to keep winning because they beat the Tigers, who, by the way, the other part of this playoff picture we still have to get to, The Mariners are only 2 games back of the Tigers for the number 2 seed. 2 games. And the Mariners have the tiebreaker. So 2 games is a true 2 games. If they make those 2 games up, they're the 2nd seed. So I
guess who pitches for the Rangers tomorrow?
Jacob deGrom, baby. So it's funny, in the span of 2 days, I think my opinion shifted on this, where now I'm okay with seeing both Texas and Cleveland win.
And I think most of that has to do with the Mariners have given themselves enough separation in the last 2 days by winning 10 games in a row that, okay, you got the cushion you needed. Now let's try and advance on the teams either in front of you or just behind you in the Astros and Tigers. Because that's where it's at right now. You either get more cushion in terms of the playoff bubble or you get closer to the top teams at this rate. You don't get both for how these series have played out. I'm with you. I think I'd be okay with the Rangers winning tomorrow. So the Rangers win tomorrow. You also win tomorrow and beat Cole Reagan, so I'm not worried about it at all, Lyle. And the Rangers would stay 5.5 games back of you. The Astros would be in a game and a half behind you with 3 to play coming up this weekend. And then the Guardians beat the Tigers. The Tigers would be only 1 game in front of you, and you'd still have your 4.5 game lead on Cleveland with 10 left to play. That condenses the picture a lot. Oh, and there's another storyline from today. The Mariners also passed the Red Sox in the standings as well. So that's another team of cushion between you and the cutoff line.
Dude, now the Red Sox feel like they're free-falling a little bit. They're 4-6 in their last 10, but they're not playing the same level of baseball they were playing just a couple weeks ago. It is remarkable how
the team
this
I
changes.
said I was the most worried about playing in the playoffs.
So was I. But it is pretty remarkable how fast this stuff changes.
And they're 2.5 games. The Guardians are just as hot as the Mariners are right now from a win streak perspective. They're 9-1 in their last 10. Mariners are 10-0 in their last 10. The Red Sox have another bad series and a half. The Guardians could pass them. That's dangerous for them.
Be really dangerous. I am glad the Guardians ended up winning that game here on Tuesday night, though, and they found a way to pick it up and win it in extra innings because they were an out away from clinching it just in 9 innings, only to give up a home run to Kerry Carpenter, which obviously I was furious about because, I want to see the Mariners get the 2 seed. I want to see them move up. I want to see them pass the Tigers. When Kerry Carpenter hit that home run, I was getting real antsy to potentially tweet out, as somebody with no bias in this, #free Emmanuel Clase. After seeing Kerry Carpenter hit that home run, I wanted to tweet out free Emmanuel Clase.
Put a call into the commissioner's office.
But hey, you know what? It's all right. Guardians still won, so all's well.
Those bets magically went away.
I'm betting if Emmanuel Clase was out there tonight, Kerry Carpenter doesn't hit that homer. Betting.
That is a fair point. So, okay, so 2 games, within 2 games of the Tigers, half game up on the Astros. Let's see, they're 2 games behind. Let me do some math here. They are 1 game behind the Yankees.
Oh, yeah. There's now a world that even if you didn't win the West, there's still a world you could host that wild card series at home.
But that would put you against the Blue Jays, would it not?
No, the Blue Jays are going to get a bye.
I know, but if you won that series, instead of facing... trying to remember. Yeah. The Blue Jays would play the winner of the 5-4 instead of 3-6.
Yeah.
So that's what that would do.
Right.
But you'd get home field regardless, whether you won the division or not.
Right.
So that's important. This win streak has done a lot for the Mariners' chances of not just making the playoffs, but playing games at T-Mobile Park this postseason, where, as we pointed out earlier today, and we talked about on Monday's podcast episode, they have gone, in their last 23 games, they've won 20 of them at home. You got to feel pretty good about playing postseason games inside that ballpark, given how you've played since the All-Star break. So this stretch has been very important.
Yeah, great. So go do it. Go win the West. Go secure yourself home field advantage. Please.
Unless you have anything else on this, I think the last thing we need to talk about on today's episode is something you and I didn't expect, but happened anyway this week. Colt Emerson gets promoted to AAA for the final week of the AAA season and the AAA playoffs. Very exciting. You could argue, A, he earned it, and B, Tacoma also has a need for infielders, so they decided that they were going to call Colt Emerson up with Arkansas's season over. He made the most sense, and he hit a home run here during his debut.
Woo! Yes, Colt! Yes! Boom! Let's go, baby! That's all I got. Well, that's not all I got. That's not true. That's one side to this coin. The other side is a 19 to 20-year-old only playing 34 games in AA a little small of a sample?
Oh, yes. Definitely.
Yeah. Because with this, so again, this is the two sides to the coin. Fired up for Colt Emerson. By him getting promoted, it means he is almost definitely, I'll say most likely, that's a better way to put it, most likely to start the year in Tacoma now next year, meaning his path to the big leagues and the timetable is getting shorter and shorter, probably shorter than we originally even imagined. I figured it would be around the All-Star break, maybe early August next year. Now it feels like he could be on the Cole Young timeline, where he could be up in mid-May, late May, especially if he's hitting. The other side to it is, again, doesn't feel like a lot of games he's played above A-ball. The Mariners obviously have much more detail on this than we do, so they clearly feel comfortable with it. But it's not a lot of games. Now, I will say, as TJ, it looks like, well, oh, wait, because it looks like you're going to look something up. I will say, in those 34 games, Colt Emerson was striking out less than 20% of the time, walked about 9% of the time, which is solid. But the bigger deal is he was hitting 280, his OPS was 820, his WRC plus was 133, so he was 33% better than league average in those 34 games in AA, and his defense has been silky smooth. So, again, another two-sided coin here. Small amount of games, but he's been really good and doesn't seem like he's getting phased by Arkansas at all.
Perhaps this is just him being fortunate of a circumstance, the Mariners needing infielders, and therefore he gets to skip a level. I'm not saying that's smart, but we already know his floor is very high, and we know in a short sample he was not overmatched at all in AA. And perhaps the Mariners see that, and then they also add on the fact, hey, we need infielders in AAA. Colt is the one who I think makes the most sense to be up there. Time will tell whether or not this is the right decision. I think Colt will ultimately play well in AAA, even if he struggles off the bat. But, yeah, I mean, for the last week of the season, I mean, what do you have to lose? Arkansas is not playing anyways. There is still a world where Colt Emerson plays this week in the postseason with Tacoma, and then the Mariners put him back in AA at the start of next season. Still possible.
That's actually what I was going to ask you. Do we think there's a possibility that still happens, and this is just a way to get Colt some extra at-bats?
Possibility? Yes. I would say, since I'm not dialed in with sources on prospects, let me say 50-50 chance either way. But if Colt looks really good and is weak in Tacoma and crushes it in the playoffs, why not? His bat might benefit more from being in Tacoma. You're going to face some more advanced breaking stuff, which will prepare you for the big leagues. It's a better hitters league, so you're going to feel more confident at the plate as opposed to hitting in Dickey-Stevens Park in Arkansas, where every ball you hit seems to just die flatly. And get Emerson around some guys who have been in the big leagues and have him gain experience that way too, so he can make his debut sometime next season.
Spring training will also play a factor here too. How he plays in spring training will probably have some determination on where he starts also.
Ultimately, what these teams look at, sometimes a guy is just ready. They see what they want to see. Okay, you're not overmatched. You're doing everything we thought you would do in AA. All right, we're ready to move you up. Remember that Julio in AA did hit better in a handful more. Julio played 46 AA games, if I remember correctly. Colt Emerson has played 34 and had success, though not quite as much success as Julio had. Remember, Julio only had that many games in AA and then went straight to the big leagues the next season. It is always possible when you have a phenom-level prospect. Colt Emerson is a very, 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 very good prospect. I don't think I'd throw phenom on him yet. But say he starts next season in AAA, destroys it, and makes the big leagues very early, then Yeah, we could do that. And then this all makes sense.
Yeah, because if he plays 50 games in AAA next year, which still would be around end of May or so, if I have that right. Yeah, around end of May.
Roughly.
If he plays 50 games in AAA and is crushing it, that would be about 90 games above A-ball that he would be playing, and he would be facing close to big league level pitching. And if that's the case, that still doubles the amount of games that Julio played above A-ball. So you're right. Colt Emerson is not the same type of prospect Julio was when he was coming up. It's not a drastic difference, but there is a difference. And if Colt gets double the amount of games, and by the end of May next year, he's killing it in AAA, then maybe the Mariners will say, yeah, he's been challenged enough. There's nothing left for him to prove down here. We'll call him up. Maybe that's what happens. And again, I think spring training will have a big tell on what he does and where he starts in 2026.
Do we think this changes how the Mariners approach their shortstop position next year?
Possible.
Because remember what we were floating out when, I believe it was on a mailbag episode we were talking about this. I had always thought Colt Emerson finishes the year in Double-A. He starts next season in Double-A. Therefore, the Mariners are not going to move off their current shortstop, who hits well enough but has his struggles on defense, to worry about moving him knowing he's under contract for another season. Colt Emerson eventually gets promoted next year. You put Colt Emerson at a different position on the infield, or if JP's willing, you'd put him on a different position of the infield. You play both, and then JP walks in the offseason. But if Colt is starting one level closer to the big leagues next year, then you raise your eyebrow a little bit. Like, okay, so what are the Mariners going to be looking for with their shortstop position next season? How do they view it?
I mean, couldn't you let JP play shortstop until Colt Emerson comes up, and once Colt is ready, you could just have JP and Ben Williamson platoon at third base or something? Couldn't you just do that?
You could in theory, but these are humans we're talking about, and JP has been in the big leagues for a while. I just don't feel like he would all of a sudden be thrilled with a platoon role at third base.
Probably
and that's
wouldn't.
not something you just ruffle in a clubhouse in the middle of the season.
Again, when Colt's ready, he's going to be up and he's going to play. So he's going to play.
So then Colt plays every day at third base.
I'm not so sure.
Or Colt plays every day at shortstop and JP plays every day at third base. Or plays every day at second, wherever they want to put him.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that. But I think this is more about that when Colt's ready, I think there's a decent world you see JP Crawford playing somewhere else. Again, this is a guy who's yet again in the bottom 5 percentile of the league and outs above average. I understand there's a human element to this. I do. It's not like you're kicking him off the team. Is there a world you could trade him this winter? Sure. But if he's here next year, you're not kicking him off the team. You're telling him he's going to play another position because time has caught up with him at short. You will have a better option defensively, and you need to play Colt Emerson every day. So, yeah, you would tell JP Crawford, we're going to test you out at third base. I don't think it's so crazy.
I don't have a problem with that. I'm just saying JP might, and knowing that Dan is a player's manager would adhere to the veteran players in his clubhouse.
Again, when Colt's ready, he's playing. He ain't platooning. He ain't off the bench. When he's here, he's playing.
You're not wrong. But it just where is he playing?
But again, like, I'm sorry, but my answer to this is if JP doesn't want to move off a short, then like play better defense.
I mean, there's a chance the Mariners don't want to move JP off of short. I'm not saying it's the right decision, but it's not the first time in baseball history that an aging veteran has not been just kicked out of his position for a 20-year-old.
All right, so maybe Colt Emerson plays some time at third. We saw it happen with Manny Machado when he got up. Machado barely played any third base at all when he was in the minors. He was a shortstop. And then he played third because they had J.J. Hardy at short. Difference is J.J. Hardy was still a really good shortstop at that point defensively.
If JP comes out next year and is just bad at baseball, then he would lose his job. But if JP's doing what JP's doing this season at the plate, where he's 12% above average, they're not taking him out of the lineup.
Okay, it's not about at the plate. This is, again, in the field. This is in the field.
I know, which is why I said JP can go play a different position.
Yeah.
If they want to do that. But I also said it's not the most unlikely thing ever that the 20-year-old is the one who has to go play a different position while the guy making $12 million a year stays at shortstop until his contract runs out. I'm not saying it's the right decision. I'm just saying baseball history has told us teams are very much willing to do that.
Again, it's possible. Colt Emerson looks really good defensively at shortstop.
I agree. He's great. He's everything the Mariners want in a prospect. Everything.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I'm curious. When Mike Trout came up, where did he play?
Yeah, he played at a couple different spots. Again, it's
and
Colt
Emerson, he was the number 2 prospect in baseball when he came up.
Yeah.
Let me see.
He could play some different spots. Again, I guess my gripe here, or not, maybe gripe's not the right word. My argument here is it would be different if JP was JJ Hardy. What JJ Hardy and Manny Machado went through. Because Machado was a top 3 prospect when he debuted too. Manny went to third because they had another elite defensive shortstop. The Mariners don't have an elite defensive shortstop right now.
No, they do not. Who else? So let's use the Mike Trout example. Mike Trout, so he played left and center that 2012 amazing season he had. And he gave up center field reps to Peter Borges and Vernon Wells. Like, not the most amazing names in the world. And he was a phenom. All like, great. But even he did not just simply overtake right away.
Peter Borges was a really, really good defender in center field. That's the difference.
And Mike Trout was better. But did they put Mike Trout in center? No.
I'm just saying, Peter Borges was putting up 13 defensive runs saved out in center field in 2010. Then he put up 10 in 2011. He put up 9 in 2012. J.P. Crawford is not doing that. That's the point. He has not been a really strong defender who he's going to have to compete with a prospect. He's been a bad defender. That's the argument.
And I'm not saying I'm not calling him a good defender. I'm just saying history has not just given the plate to the 20-year-old prospect. Doesn't matter how good he is.
Fine, but if you want to align your best defensive infield next year, if everything stays on par with where it's at right now with both Colt and JP, Colt Emerson will be the shortstop.
I 100% agree with you. 100%. But the Mariners have never always just done what is right. Never. They didn't even do it this year. How long was Dylan Moore on the roster?
J.P. Crawford should be playing third base next year if Colt Emerson is ready.
And are we sure JP's good at third base?
No, but you need to find another option for Colt Emerson if he's going to play shortstop.
Yeah. And that's the Mariners' problem to figure out now because Colt is coming. Right. He's coming. He's going to be up next year, and he's going to be really good.
Yeah. That's what this is more about. The excitement of getting Colt Emerson here.
All right. I don't care where JP plays. As long as Colt is up and he's in the lineup every single day.
Sure. Again, Colt might play some third. It's not like he wouldn't ever step foot over there. I think you're going to see him play a good amount of short. That is my
2027, Colt Emerson's your starting shortstop. That I will say for certainty.
Well, yeah. And I think you might see it a lot at 26. That's my prediction.
All right. Well, let's hope so, because that means the Mariners would probably make the right decision.
Right. Point being, him being in AAA is pretty exciting. And again, it sparked conversations like this. Again, I guess the last thing here is not for certain, but there is a world JP could get traded this winter if they think they can get something back for him that they like. You sign a utility guy to play shortstop for a couple months.
Oh, great.
And then you bring up Colt when he's ready. It doesn't have to be somebody bad. Or here, like here's an example.
I would rather just if you're going to do that, I would just keep JP.
Yeah, you could. What if they think there's going to be some ego problem though? Because you seem to think that could play a factor here.
I'd rather just have more good baseball players on the roster and worry about the egos when that problem arises. I'm not
What if-
I'm not
what if-
trying to like avoid a problem before the hypothetical problem even starts.
I'm just saying, what if you went and traded for Ha-Seong Kim for a year? It was 1 year left on his deal, who, by the way, could very easily slide to third when Colt Emerson's ready.
But why would you get rid of JP and trade for Ha-Seong Kim? Whatever you're giving up, whatever you're gaining in defense, you're giving up in offense.
Sure.
So then why transact?
Well, again, what is your solution?
Put all of them on the roster and figure it out.
Okay, then Colt's the shortstop.
Great. Glad we got that solved.
Yeah. That's my
I just
vote,
don't
at
see the point of transacting just to transact for some hypothetical problem that is a year away from us right now.
Well, I'm just saying they might want something else back, and if they know that JP's time's going to come to an end at the end of next year, they might want to get some value back for him. And again, for 2 months, you could sign somebody else to play shortstop that can move around. What if they sign IKF for a year? The idea is to platoon him and be a utility guy, and him and Leo Rivas spend some time at shortstop until Emerson's ready.
If the goal is making the playoffs, I would keep all the best players possible on your roster and then figure it out. Like the Mariners are currently doing right now.
Sure.
You have a bunch of really good players and you just figure it out.
Sure.
As opposed to taking talent off your roster. Well, again, remember that Colt is still a prospect. We think he's going to be really good, but he is still a prospect.
Yeah.
And we're watching a top 40 prospect in Cole Young right now go through an incredible cold streak and is essentially not playing in the most important part of the season.
Yeah, look, the odds they trade J.P. Crawford this winter are not high. This was just a hypothetical because we're talking about what options could be had once he's ready. It's an option. The more likely option, I think, is when the time comes, they will ask J.P. Crawford, or more tell him, to slide over to third. He'll play short to start the year, and when Colt's up, Colt might play a little bit at third. Not like JP would never get a start day at short, but more likely they would ask JP to go over to third base, say Colt's going to play short.
I'm fine with that. If JP's okay with that, perfect. Perfect scenario. Well, maybe not perfect, but as good as it gets.
I say he needs to be okay with it because the numbers are what they are, and if Colt's defense stays like this, it's the best alignment for you to win games.
I agree. And that should be the goal. Win games.
Yeah. Anyway, him being in AAA is pretty exciting.
Very, very much, very exciting, and hopefully he has some big playoff moments. I think that'll be really fun for him. Gets to fly on more planes to go to games. It's almost like you're in the big leagues.
Almost. Yeah, this is, I mean, as you can tell from us debating this on the mailbag when we did last week, and now this conversation coming up again, this conversation's not going away.
No.
I think this is going to be a topic throughout the offseason. I think this is going to be a topic in spring training. I think this is going to be a topic come the start of next season. This is what Colt Emerson's done. Not only is he forcing the Mariners' hand and upping and speeding up his timeline with the way he's played, but now he's sparking conversations like this already, and they're relevant. There's no right side to it or wrong side to it. Again, what I think is just my own opinion. But this is what he's done.
Do you think this might put pressure on JP to up his defense?
I mean, that'd be great. If he comes into camp next year and his defense looks all that much cleaner and he starts the year really, really hot at short, great. Then that's a good problem to have too, because again, you figure it out.
Right.
It's if history continues to go the way it's gone, it suggests that J.P. Crawford is not going to find the fountain of youth at shortstop.
And if JP comes out in the first 2 months next year and puts up an 89 WRC plus, then the argument's self-made. Like I said, things figure themselves out usually.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Fun combo, though. And like I said, it's not going away. Ultimately, fired up for Colt. Was surprising to see him get called up, but it's awesome for him. And clearly, wasn't phased in game one. He hit a tank off the light tower. Off a lefty, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good.
Very good.
Attaboy, Colt. All right, that just about wraps up this edition of the Marine Layer Podcast. You guys know the drill. If you want to listen to the full form podcast, you can do so wherever you get your audio pods. Make sure you're downloading. Please go rate and review. Leave 5 stars. It really does help. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, go hit subscribe too. If you hit subscribe, you get notified whenever we're posting new content. It really supports the channel. Just hit subscribe on YouTube. You can find everything over at our website. You can go get your merch, Patreon signups, live show schedules. That's all over at marinelayerpod.com. And then find us across social media at Marine Layer Pod. That's TJ. I'm Lyle. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon.